Ahoy toy! Welcome to Transfixed, the channel that is already in reruns? No, this is going to be an update video to the KitzConcept 172 scale VF-1S Roy FOKKER Veritech. Now, the video I did on this before received a bit of constructive criticism, and that's fair. When I got this in about 9 months ago, I tried to do a review of it in my spare time, and I wasn't feeling very well at the time. And I did call it a comparison, but I didn't show all the modes. So I want to make that right. I want to address that. So I apologize for cutting a few corners. The reason doing is just lack of time, mostly. I mean, yeah, I wasn't feeling well, but also I only get about 2 hours of free time a day after I got the kids to bed and work is over and all that stuff. So I tend to rush through things sometimes. So I want to make that right. I want to go back and fill in some of the holes that I missed in the other video, as some people requested. So before I get into that, I'll do a quick pricing update here. So you can still order this from the KitzConcept.hk website for $99.90, so $100. Big Bad Toy Store also still has it, and it is listed for a little bit more, $110 there. They also have the Rick Hunter version up for pre-order. On KitzConcept store, it's $106.40. Big Bad Toy Store has it for $125 for pre-order. They've also got a black and orange version and a black and gold version, it looks like. I imagine the prices are a little bit higher on Big Bad Toy Store due to the shipping. The shipping is a little bit high if you order it directly from KitzConcept, so just be aware of that. Maybe go through the checkout and compare if you're looking at buying these. And they've also got some other stuff coming too. They've got some Minmay little figurines. They've got a 6-inch Minmay figure, which I kind of ignored. I'm not a fan of that character. They've got a Lisa Hayes coming, and they have the Rick Hunter version. These are all 6-inch figures, and the Rick Hunter I'll probably do a video on because I did just get that one in. He is here. And it's all right. It's not a bad figure. So in this video, I'm going to be comparing all three modes of several figures here. Now, there'll be a couple things missing from this video, I'm afraid, just because of practical reasons. For example, I don't have the shirt anymore that came with the KitzConcept figure. And I'm not going to go into packaging and things that I already spent time on in the first video. So if you want to see everything comprehensively, please watch both videos. If you just want to see the comparisons, this is the video for you. And I hope that this fills in the gaps. So we have all 5 here. I'm going to show all 3 modes for each one. And some of these are robotech, some of these are macross. So we've got the Transformers Jetfire figure, which is based on the Takotuku Valkyrie. That's a 155 scale. We've got the Masterpiece Max Sterling one here, which is also a 155 scale. You can see they're not exactly the same, but they're supposed to be the same scale. We've got our KitzConcept here, which is the focus of this video, of course, and that is a 172 scale figure. And then we've got the Bandai High Metal R figure here, which is a 1/100 scale, and the Toynami figure here, which is also 1/100 scale, which is slightly smaller than the Bandai. So Transformers / macross, robotech, 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 macross. So here's a top-down view. Front view. I don't have these on the landing gear just because they're so tiny, but I'm going to show you all the accessories. And I don't know if this is helpful, but there's the High Metal R Battle Pod with the High Metal R Valkyrie. And here's the KitzConcept 6-inch Rick Hunter, the Toynami 3 3/4-inch Rick Hunter, and the KitzConcept, and the Toynami. And here's some of the accessory. You can see the Bandai has a lot of accessories that come in this little packet here. I keep all my accessories in these fishing tackle boxes here. Here's the Toynami accessories here, and some of the KitzConcept and some more of the Bandai stuff that's been taken out of the box there. We'll show this during different modes. Now, one of the nice things about the KitzConcept is it comes with LED stuff. So there's an LED light in the cockpit, which I'll show in a minute, and then there's the gun. You don't need to remove the barrel, but you can see the LED inside there if you do. You could probably glue that in place, it might be better. And then you can remove the part of the trigger here. This hand is not attached, I just don't want to take it off. There we go. So it kind of snaps into place on one side. There's a little switch under the strap here. The strap is removable, and there's your light up rifle. So if you want to take the strap out, you can. It just plugs in like that. Actually, we should take it out because we're going to put it on the bottom of the fighter. So this is just a rubber piece plugged in there, and then once you've taken it out, you can collapse this like most ones, Let's just turn it off for now. There's the screw to take out the batteries and replace them. And then on the bottom here, this part will go in between the arms like usual. Have to separate them a bit so that it plugs in to both of the arms. So now it's got that. And then it has a stand as well. I have to move some of this stuff here. This green stand, although it was clear in the photos for some reason. And then the back of the gun goes through that slot there. And then the front just rests like that. So you have a nice little flight stand. It doesn't angle. It's only going to have a level fighter. And I still can't figure out any way to use the stand in Battloid or Guardian mode or Grow Up mode or what have you. But that works well enough for the fighter mode. So I think we can remove that now. Let's take a look at the landing gear. Landing gear are quite nice on this one. The wheels do roll. They're pinned in place there. For the front one, it's got this tow hook that's articulated. And this just goes down in here. And there's two doors that cover that. Now to open these up, it's there's not really much of a seam there. It hides nicely, and it's got a little nice detailed, text there. It's not real text, but it looks like text. But to get this open, you would need fingernails, and you could probably do this without a tool. I think you could open this up and then get your fingernail in there, and yeah, you can get this open. So that one works well. The rear ones are a little more tricky. So again, these do, these ones do roll. They're also pinned in place. There's some focus problems here. And those hide away in there. And there are two flaps. Now to open them, you want to push the knee little parts up here first, and then, in my opinion, you do need a tool to open these. You want to get the tweezers or a pry tool and open up this hinge first. Let's try it on this side. And carefully open that up because it's just all plastic. And then this one you can go to the other side. Again, carefully. And then you have to have a tool to get this wheel out. I just don't see another way to do it. And there's your landing gear. So it's nice that it hides away, but just because it's so tiny, you do need tools for this one. That's the KitzConcept. The Masterpiece version has probably my favorite set of landing gear. There is no stand with the Masterpiece one. It has rubber tires. Two on the front here. I think this looks like metal, but is it just chromed plastic? No, I think these are metal struts. So that one tucks away. It's metal and a plastic flap on here that are attached. You can close this. It's got little tabs here so you can open it with fingernails. And the rear ones are similar. These just fold in. One door. You do have to be a bit careful with that door because that's a plastic hinge, and I noticed it bending when I opened it. So, but you can do it with your hands. You don't need tools for the Masterpiece. Just be very careful. So to display this in flight mode, there aren't really any options for you. This one also has a light, just one single LED behind the visor here, and the switch for that is in the nose here. I don't have batteries in this one, unfortunately. When that lights up, you can see the circle of the LED. It doesn't really diffuse very well there, but it looks all right. By the way, the KitzConcept, I guess we may as well show the lights for that one. You have to remove the nose cone. And you get a nice little painted detail in there. What do they call this? The radome, I think. And there's your switch. This, if you need to change the batteries, you need to unscrew that and take out that panel. You can see there's a red light there. And then here is the, oh, my focus is all over the place. And there's our cockpit, which is on a hinge. And our little removable Roy figure there. Nicely painted cockpit with the instruments and the ejection seat. Very nicely detailed cockpit. I like that they painted everything. So we'll sit him back in here and let him be illuminated by his heads-up display. Which I think looks marvelous. That's one of the selling features for me. I love LEDs. The reason why there's a gap there and a red LED is for these holes here that are for the laser guns, I guess. And if you put this back on, we can see that. They're a bit faint, so we need lights off for that. So that's what that looks like. They're pretty cool, I think. Here's the gun for the Masterpiece version. It opens, it closes. The handle is not detachable. It just has this one peg here that slides into the forearm and sits there. But that works quite nicely. Very effective, very simple. And the good old Jetfire Takotuku version here. It's a much chunkier figure, and it has die-cast landing gear inside, half die-cast legs. You can see I tried to strip some paint and went overboard there. And then these little closing plastic flaps on the back ones. There's a switch here for the front one. Ow! So this whole die-cast thing with two metal rolling wheels just flips down, and then at the back, even after all these years, it still works great. Really very nice, especially for a toy from, gosh, what was it, 1982, something like that. Yeah. Quick, easy, effective, but this is a larger figure, so it has that going for it. And the Takotuku / Jetfire gun here. It doesn't do anything. It's just it just has it's just held together by this cap on the end here, and it has this this scope. I feel like this was probably a removed spring-loaded firing feature, I'm guessing, because this feels like one of those switches, right? And there's a hole here. So now for the smaller 1/100 scale guys, the Toynami one landing gear. It has a fold down flap here where you can plug one in, and then same with the back. You can actually flip these all the way around, and the landing gear plugs in, which I cannot find at the moment, but obviously that's how it works. My arm fell off. Just plugs in there. The Bandai has a little similar idea here. This is just a filler piece. And in the back here, for the legs, also filler pieces. And then we plug in the landing gear. So what color is this side? That's for the starboard side. So starboard is blue on these ones. So this just plugs in here. And it's nicely painted. The wheels don't roll. Let's put in the front one. Here's the front one. So it's got the flaps as part of the plug-in piece and the paint there. I think that's fair for such a small figure. Having these two on landing gear is fine. This one seems to sit a little bit high. Okay, please don't kill me for not having the landing gear. I think I know where they are, but I'll try and find them. And there's our port side. And these both come with the missile pods. Guns for these ones. So this is our Bandai gun. This one actually collapses. You can remove the trigger quite easily, collapse this, and then this plugs in to one of the arms. Works very nicely. Toynami, same idea. You can unplug the whole trigger assembly here, collapse this in, and there is a clip for this, I believe. Okay, I seem to be missing some pieces. This looks like it would clip in here, but I'll have to find those pieces. And for the Bandai, they're pretty generous with the stands, which makes sense because it's Bandai. It doesn't come with the stand, but it comes with mounting pieces for each mode. So for the fighter mode, you get this little piece here that clips around the gun. So it cradles it like this. You gotta plug it back in. So you just slide it over, and then it tabs into the back here. Holds it quite, quite securely. God, I don't like this. I do not like it. If you're careful, yeah, you can get it to... God damn it. It works. I'm sure. I believe in you, Bandai. I believe in you. This is me. This is on me. Oh my goodness. Anyway, you've seen these stage Act 5 stands or whatever. It's just your standard Japanese stands will plug into these. So you can display it. Flight mode. Of course it works fine. I just didn't collapse everything properly into place. So if I got this, fucking works well. You just have to buy the stand separately. So what I'd like to do now is transform this into Guardian or Gerwalk mode, and I'll transform the KitzConcept one on camera. I won't transform the other ones on camera, but I will compare each mode, and I'm also going to call out some of the major differences in mechanics during the transformation. So hopefully that will give everybody an idea of what the differences are and what's unique about this one. So if we look at the bottom here, by the way, if I haven't called it out already, I haven't. And by the way, I should just mention while we're in this mode that the panel lining on the KitzConcept is beautiful. It doesn't have lines everywhere, but all of these pieces are nicely lined and detailed. There's a lot of little detail warnings and no steps, and it's just really good attention to detail. Let's just go through it. So we'll start with the legs. Now they're tabbed in a couple different places here. I'll take this one out. So you can see there's a tab here that fits into the back of the leg here, and then under here, oh, we can't get this out yet, but there's a tab on the side of here and the side of here. You can kind of see that. This one kind of tends to come loose. So we'll untab this. It's also tabbed into this part here, this little pod back here. You can see that there's a tab on inside of the legs that fit into there. So when you're transforming this into the fighter mode, you've got to collapse this up, tab that in, and then tab that in, and then the arms do not connect to the legs. So that part's a little bit different than some of the other ones. On the masterpiece, it's quite simple. There is a tab for the back of the knee here that fits in here, and there's nothing that connects the leg to the arms. There's nothing that connects this part here to the leg either. This is the old system where it has these beefy hinges here with the little tab that, or little nub that goes into there. So that's quite simple. This one you just pull it down like that. This is the same. There are no connecting pieces even on the leg. It's just all in that metal hinge in the old classic guy here. But it's still extremely sturdy. That's all you do for that one. The Bandai one is connected in the same places as the KitzConcept. There is a tab on the top of the leg that goes into this piece here. There's your tab there. And then this does connect into the side of the arms, both of them. And there is also this one is unique. It's got a like a circular plug here that goes into a hole underneath there. So it ends up being very secure, and it's not difficult to do. The Toynami one doesn't connect to the top, or it doesn't connect to this part at all on the top of the leg. On the side, In fact, there's almost nothing connecting it at all. It just sort of fits into place there by friction. And I think there is supposed to be a tab from the arms to the leg. Now on mine, I've got a tab here on the side of this arm that connects to the leg, and that actually does not a bad job. I mean, the whole thing doesn't, it's secure enough. But on this side, I don't have that. Now I think, I didn't realize this until today actually. I think what's happened is I probably got two right arms, because the tab is on the same side of both arms and there's a hole. So this, I've got 2 holes, of course that doesn't work. Nothing here. So this always falls off and it prevents these from getting close together. I think this is just a misassembly. So do you have the Toynami? If you do, can you let me know if yours works? Do you have a tab on the opposite sides? I think I think that's just a QC problem here. Unless they just really cheaply didn't make a left and a right arm, but I'm not sure. So back to our KitzConcept here, we will continue on. There's a lot of joints in here. There's a rotation here. This whole leg goes up and down. You can unfasten all that stuff. And what we'll do now is try to loosen this up. So this is this is a bit tricky. Now we've got to move the arms out of the way so that we can get this piece here moving. So the arms on this one, on the KitzConcept, that's going to be hard to say. It's on a rotating, like a circular joint here. So these arms, you've got to pull around like this. And I don't like doing that because those are all plastic joints. But let me try to get you a view in here. Maybe I can get this out of the way. So yeah, what you've got there is the joint here. The arms just rotate all the way around. So you kind of have to just move them out of the way so you can get this crossbar here. Now this piece is, I feel like that might be metal. I think these pieces are metal here. So now you can unfasten this. So again here, there's quite a few connecting points. There's a little tab actually underneath that goes up in there. There's a hole here that tabs into here. That one I usually have trouble with. And then, yeah, then this whole piece now can drop down out of the way. And then you can finish rotating the arms around like this. So those go out to the side, of course. And again, this is a tight ball socket joint here. So you rotate this around, that's not too bad. But when you try to move the arm, I recommend you hold this in place while you move it so that you don't stress that, that peg. Does that make sense? So this folds up and down, so you can get these arms into the position they're supposed to be now. So now you've got this where it's supposed to be. I don't see any stress marks or anything. It seems to be holding up fine so far. I just kind of wish that if there was more metal, I wish these were metal joints. And like this piece I wish was metal, so it had a metal peg and all this. Now we've got the arms, and we'll put this back since we're going into Guardian mode. I think we'll call it Guardian mode because we're in a Robotech figure. And then again, we've got to get this tab up in there, and this tab up in there, and that tab in there. So there's 3 tabbing locations. So we want that one to tuck under, and then these ones we can kind of wiggle into place. And you can see that tab doesn't quite fit snugly into there. I think that hole needs to be just a little bit larger, but it's good enough. Now, again, we should hold that bracket in place while we move these arms. And get that part into place. Move these back, and this is nice. You got a moving kneecap here. This is articulated. Like I said, this goes up and down. So let me just put that back up. So drop it down so that he gets a nice knee bend forward. And then the feet are a ratchet, which I really like. And these also pull down if you want the extra articulation. So that you can get these to move. Oops, what's that from? So you can get these to move quite a lot once you pull it down. Or you can lock it back up in place and it doesn't move as much. So that's nice. That works well. Then of course you got these. You can do them either way first. Just be careful you don't bend them. And this goes up here, and this folds in. I believe. I think this folds in. And the clearance is pretty good. You can kind of, yeah, I don't find the shoulders really get in the way. The shoulders are movable as well. We'll clean him up later. For comparison, the Masterpiece is a lot like the vintage one. It's got just nice die-cast metal hinges here. This double joint moves out of the way for the arms. And we'll put this leg back where it's supposed to be. And just by being in the way of the arm, it will hold it in place. Same on the back here. These double thingies here. Oh, I think that one has to go. Yeah, this one has to go down first. That one has a longer hinge. It's here. These don't pull down, but they do open up on a good friction joint. And we just squish those up into place. And it's got a little cutout here. Classic one. I had to repair the shoulder with a piece of copper wire. I think I did a video on this, maybe. This was broken for years and years, and I finally figured out a way to do it, to repair it. I replaced that. Oddly enough, the die-cast piece is what broke when this fell off my shelf when I was a kid. And it's hard to find anything in that shape, so I just molded some wire and disassembled that. So of course this is the same as the Masterpiece. It just holds it in place. It still works just fine. The only problem with this one is they didn't make any clearance for that, so this little pod kind of always, there's a lot of tension on there. I don't really like that. Good old ratchet joints. Fold, flip over. Oh, that was off camera, sorry. Somebody asked me recently if this could be repaired, and it can. If one of your wings is broken, you can unscrew these two screws to take it apart, and that does allow you to remove these tail fins and replace it if you have a replacement. Bandai, you just have to get these arms out of the way a little bit. And now this is very different. On the Bandai, you've got a sliding joint, which I quite like. So the arms slide down, and those are just clipped on there. But that's great because they won't break. If they get stressed, they'll just fall off. So you can slide these out of the way and separate them a bit, and then you can get your leg assembly down. I think this is all plastic, and then I think you slide them back up into place. Metal on these joints here. Let's see if I got this right. Put this back up. No, they do slide back. The arms go back in this mode. Arms go back, I believe. Yeah. Bend this. Oh. Ah, yes, right. These, of course, are changeable, so you can put in the little turbines there if you want to. I'm not going to go into every little detail like that because that's going to make the video way too long. It's going to be long as it is. So this arm gets out of the way like that. And I think, oh, I didn't rotate it out. So there's some hinges in here as well. So this one goes farther out from the body. Now there's room for that leg to go in there. And this one, the wings are going to be in the way. That's one problem with the Bandai. The wings barely clear the shoulders, but you can drop these down. What am I saying? No, these are on a hinge. You can drop these down out of the way. This is fine. This is fine. Oh, my little antenna fell off. That happens a lot. Okay, plug this back. Oh my goodness. It's just so tiny. And then, of course, the feet. Open. Open. They do not seem to drop down, I don't think, on this one. No, they don't. These feet are a little weird to me, but it works. Same thing. Fold, fold, fold. This is here. This is there. Bandai. Transformed. So I like that. I like that quite a bit. You can see, here's a back view. You can see those hinges. They move in such a way that you can get them out of the way. It's pretty good. I quite like that. Toynami. Okay. Toynami is a bit flimsy, so you can kind of do whatever you want with it. Is that broken? Is that why that's coming apart? Yeah, that's broken. Gee. Okay, so I'm gonna have to glue that. That's cracked right apart, so that's why that's come loose. Anyway, this is a bit like the classic one. This assembly goes forward, which works pretty well. And now you've got lots of room for your arms on the double joint. A bit like the Bandai, it's got a double joint here. You can just spread these out and get them out of the way. That actually works pretty well. And then you just flip this back into place. And again, there's no way to connect it anywhere. It just goes into place. Open the feet. Feet work fine. It does have a little kneecap here. And then just get these down out of the way. Fold, fold, fold over. Double joint here. This is going to click into place, so that holds into place. This does not have a flap. And this works all right. A lot of ball joints. I wish there was a way to secure these legs up into place, but as you can see, there's just nothing. It's just flat. They just sit there. It'd be nice if there was a way to lock that into place. So let me clean these up, and then we'll get a nice comparison of all them side by side. Okay, so there's all our Guardian mode Veritechs there, and no, I haven't forgotten the hands. I'm just saving something for the Battloid mode. And since I have it, let's put in the two-seater from Bandai. And we'll put in the High Metal R Battle Pod. Okay, so there it is, just next to our star of the show here, but it's supposed to scale with these guys here. Those are all the 100 scale ones. Okay, so just to go over a little bit more of the Guardian mode here, it does look nice. The shoulders here I didn't get into, but there's a bit of a drop down joint. It's going to be hard to show this, but I'll try. So on the ball peg here, that can drop down a bit lower. So right now it sits here. This is a moving shoulder piece, as you can see. So see the stick where the peg comes out there? You can actually pull this down. It's tight and scary, but it does sort of rock down to sit lower. I'm going to just hold this part and then pull the whole arm down, and it destroys the transformation, but hopefully you can see what is happening there. It's just that it gets in the way of the leg and pushes the leg out of the way. Doesn't help in doing this with a camera in between me and the toy, but so that lets the shoulder sit a little bit lower, but still, as far as I can tell, not quite low enough to clear the wings. Let me see if I can get this a bit lower. Okay, so just barely. That was the first time I've actually gotten it to the wing to clear the shoulder. You can sort of do it, which is good because you want the wings to stick out. I suppose about like that. I like the kind of Y shape. So if you rock those down and sort of bend them in a bit towards the body too, then it sort of seems to work. Focus is not cooperating today. So you can kind of do that. So as far as the posability goes in this mode, I mean, that's the big challenge, it seems, with these toys. But it's got a nice swivel here, a joint, of course, here, where this bends down and nicely has this sort of accordion joint to, so it doesn't look ugly. And then you get a good ratchet down here. And then the feet rock back quite a ways, so that, like I said, if you pull these out, you can get it to sit really far back and give you a nice looking mode. So apart from that ball joint, you've got the swivel and the joint here, which goes, actually there's another joint in there. I'll get into this more in the Battloid mode, but just to show you what you can do. Get lots of posability out of it. And those nice metal feet make it pretty sturdy. This is rotated out of place. Yeah, so that sort of works. I think the hardest part is just getting these stiff joints down out of the way of the wings. The masterpiece, the feet can go way back. The joint here has a swivel and just the knee. Now these shoulders will not clear out of the way of the wings. So your wings will bob up into the back. That's as far as forward as they can go. And if you want to move the arm like this, it's going to push the wings out of the way. So not the best, but it can sit nicely. And if you do it like this, I guess you can have the wing, or I guess you could have your shoulders just hitting them. It's doable. Our old classic one here. The shoulders are out of the way of the wings. This one works okay, actually. This is my modified joint. So let's look over here. That's how it's supposed to sit. And because the shoulder rotates into place like that, it's not bad. I mean, this wing actually is behind the shoulder joint, so you don't have a problem. So the original, well, I say original, but yeah, I think this was the first toy. This classic one works, still works really well. No problems with the arm at all. You don't get the same posability. Of course, there's no swivel here. That's as far forward as that joint goes, and this one goes forward that far. The foot does not rotate back, so you can only have it sitting leaning forward in this position, or kind of more upright like that. That's not bad. Bandai one fits much better on camera. So kind of like I showed before, these joints let things drop down out of the way, and then you get the wings forward. You can actually put the wings all the way forward, which I don't like because they're not supposed to be that way. I want them to stop. I don't want to decide where they stop and try to have them symmetrical. I wish the toy would just stop them where they're supposed to be, but I mean, that's not a great complaint. And then of course you get the joint goes this far forward, and the feet go pretty far back, I would say. You can give it a nice... the feet are the only limiting factor in this one. But it's really nice that the wings and shoulders don't bump into each other. I think you can get some good poses. This is the two-seater, which I really was excited to get. There's Min-Mei. And you can see the gun pod attached to the arm there. So that's how I display this one. The only thing is, like, the feet could be a little better. It just doesn't lean very far back on the feet. The Toynami one, actually, it's flexible enough that it doesn't really have a problem here. The wings do have a good stopping position. I like that. I like that the wings only go that far forward. And they do pretty much clear the shoulder, if this thing would stay together. Because you've got that drop down joint, so that is pretty well designed. And then the legs are, they don't come straight down, they only come that far down at that upper thigh joint there. They go this far forward, and the feet, they rock back really nicely actually, so you can get that nice speeding, aggressive, hovering pose, which I think is good. It actually works pretty well in this mode. And I think we're ready to transform it into Battloid mode now at this point. Okay, we're going to move our arms forward, so it's like this. This goes here. Let's pull this back out of the way. Get the legs down out of the way as well. Now this piece is all going to fold over. You can see a hinge here and a hinge here. And the head, of course, will go back through there like it always does. And there is an interesting trick this one does as well. So crack it here and pull the cockpit forward a bit. And then what happens here, this piece actually lifts up and will move forward. So you get this disconnected from down here. So these are plugged inside here, you can see. And this is that part I was telling you about. Let me try to get it on camera. So this will lift up and come forward. And then this, does this move? Yeah, this opens up like always. Get the head through here. Now this is interesting. Somebody pointed this out in my original version of this video, is that this gray shield here can stay inside for transformation. There is a rail. It's tight and it doesn't slide very easily. Oh, sorry about that scraping noise. But it can stay inside. So I've just put it inside here, and we'll see how it works. So let's get this head up into position, this chest piece down. Get this up through, turn it around, close this back up. And then what we'll do is let's try to move this down now. So this should come down and cover up old Roy here. Hopefully this is showing up. This part will be new, so let's push it down. I hope it doesn't snap because it's so creaky. Probably best if I have a tool for this. You see the rail inside here? Alright, we'll try and do it this way. I've been told it works. So I suppose technically it works. this is a separate piece out of the box. It's not in there. And I broke it. I tried to carefully push it through. I mean, it's a lot of friction. And just these little plastic tabs. So, can you see the rail right there? With that little angle in the end? You have to just push it through. I was walking it through one side to the other side with a little a file tool. And once I got to the bottom and tried to pull it, this peg just snapped right off. So, I don't recommend doing it. I just think it's better just to plug it in once you transform it and let that sit over top. Why are these legs in the way? Okay, so let's try to make a torso here. All right. Okay, let's put the legs where they're supposed to be. This should clip together here, there, and we have some legs. Now, this is interesting. They have these two pegs here that fit into those laser gun slots here. I don't really love that because it's rubbing against painted metal, but that is where they go. They just sort of pinch onto there. It works. And we have... My lights are going crazy now. Set the head back into place. Put the antennas up. Another piece I wish was metal are these antennae because they are plastic, they are long and thin, and I do not like how tight they are either. So that is our torso. But before I go farther, there are filler pieces, and we really should use them because you can see there are some gaps. So on the side, there is a spot for a filler piece. This is the slot where this tab goes in, and then this part goes up under the shoulder. So, to get that into place, we have to open it back up a little bit. And we are going to slide this one down in here, like that. And then the shoulder joint goes there, which makes it a lot more stable and secure. And the same on the other side. Slot this into place here, and the shoulder here, and now we'll put that back down, tab his fuselage crotch into the hips, and we can straighten out the legs now and start to get a robot shape. And then for the top, there's this cool piece here. This looks like the little hatch that opens up where the cockpit comes out, and this piece goes in here. So you just plug it. It just snaps into place there, and that fills in that gap. And then you just sit the head back down where it was, and you got shoulders. And this just sit on top of there. And then we'll clean him up. And this is it, the Battloid mode, or Batroid if you speak Macross. And we're gonna get all the accessories here and show off the robot mode. So first of all, let's get the hands attached. Now, there are two styles of hands. So out of the package, it comes with these articulated little hands that are meant to stay on the robot during transformation. So that's why they're tiny and skeletal. They just plug in. There's a bit of a nub on the end, but mostly there's just a straight little peg. I like that. That's all you need. So the thumb is on a ball joint, so you can rotate it around and put it up like that. There's a little tab here that plugs into the handle of the gun pod. And then it's got one index finger on a swivel here, and the rest of them are on a swivel for the other three fingers. So let me get this gun off of the hand that I prefer. Spoiler alert. So we'll just straighten out that thumb for now. Actually, maybe we'll reverse the thumb, point it backwards, and then we can put the tab into the handle. The index finger will go around the trigger guard, and we'll just plug it into place. And then if you want to put the thumb back, it gives it a nice, decent grip. And of course, plug it back into the robot, and it holds it quite nicely. This strap gets in the way, of course, but you can unplug it like I showed earlier. And then if you want to use the other hand, that would go on. Oh, and there is a swivel on the wrist too. So you put it in here, and there you have your little hands. It's not too bad. You know, that's of course for people who prefer to not have parts forming. So if you open the wrist up, and then the way you do that is to rotate it so it's palms up, and then it just folds away. One side like that. And there's a little plug here holding it into place. So you can do it like that, but I don't like that. I'm okay with having parts forming if it makes it look like the cartoon. So let's get rid of those. So here are all the accessories you get. There are those rather skeletal looking hands that I just showed. He's got a pair of fists. He has a saluting hand for his right, a left splayed open hand, a more relaxed hand which I use to grip the barrel of the gun, and then of course the gun holding trigger finger hand. And he has these little vent covers. So if you want to cover those up in the Battloid mode, you can do that. I'm not sure about the Guardian mode. It would make sense to have these open, but I can't remember. I would have to check the cartoon. The anime, sorry. So these just plug in by friction. You put the bottom end in first and it'll be a bit easier for you. Like that. So we'll go ahead and do that. And let's give him, well, I'll just show you. These ones do have a bit of a ball on the peg. You can make salute. So I, of course, like to use this one because it holds the gun. Just slide it in there like that. Pop it on. Use my rested hand like that. And this is how I like to display him. A nice, actually not on his knees, of course, but like this. So remember, the knees drop down and up, so you can have that how you like. Same with the feet. You can have them down if you wanted to be taller or do some more crazy poses. He can do a lot. He is very poseable. So there he is in the best pose that I can get him in for now. Pretty stable, pretty sturdy. The metal feet help a lot. The ratchets on them help a lot. It's pretty stable. Some joints are tighter than others. I don't know, is this supposed to go up or down? I feel like this is like a jetpack, so it should always be open in all the modes, but what do I know? So, yeah, sometimes it's hard. Because of the ratchets, it's sometimes hard to get them in exactly the pose you want. And the friction joints up here. But, I mean, it's not an SH Figure Arts. But it is very, very good. It displays nicely. You can get them in all kinds of good poses. So I think it's great. I do recommend it. And, of course, we need to compare him with the other Battloids, so let's do that. For the Masterpiece, it's a lot like the classic one. The hands just slide out with a lever, and they are on a ball joint here with a thumb that goes just up and down, and then index finger and 3 fingers on the swivel here. It doesn't come with any extra hands, just these ones. And to get it into Battloid mode, it's just the legs down again. The arms stay where they were. This opens up, this opens up. This slides down, head folds up, and rotates around, of course. There's the back view if you want to see that. And then, of course, the double hinge part here. This clips into the back. This folds up. This is not a hinge, again. This close up. And you've got yourself a Battloid. We have a cover piece for the canopy. I forgot to mention it does open, and you can take that little max pilot out. But now we're just going to slide this up into place, because that's our battle. As I said, this fella has a sliding fist. Still works nicely. It's got a hole for the gun. Gun goes in. fist comes out. Legs down, slide down, open, head, close. This one I kind of just do a few things at the same time. There is a clip in the back, just like the Masterpiece, or is the Masterpiece just like this one? Be more accurate to say. Had to do that off camera just for safety. So happy to have 2 arms on this guy again. That is a real treat. Oh, there is he. The Bandai has some really nice little animated, anime style. He looks like Mickey Mouse gloves, but I think they're really cool. So this one, of course, you have to lift this up. Now this one's a bit different. The hinge is back here, so you can push this down a bit. Okay. So the door is there. This whole chunk here rotates around. That's why the hinge is back here. It's a little bit different. And then there's your connector. So this one does not have transformable hands. It only has the ones that you peg on. And this one's reversed. So the socket is in the hand and the ball joint is on the wrist, which is fine. And as you can see, that's for the gun, of course. So we just need to extend this out again and then plug this in. Same on this side. At least there is a little ridge there you can press against. I did the other one without a tool. Let's see if I'm as lucky on this side. I think that will, oh, we can just rotate that right around. Don't even have to lift it up. We'll just push it. Push it. And again, that has a nice hand. This comes with other hands as well. I'll show them. But this gives you a really nice gun holding hand. But we have to transform it first, don't we? So with this guy, what we got to do is bring the leg assembly away. And we're going to do they always have this little hatch here. This bends down a bit. We can get this hatch open. Gotta loosen this up here. Look how this is different here. This has a plate that goes with the cockpit where those legs plugged in. This piece just came off, which is fine. I mean, during the transformation, it popped off. So I may as well just show you how it works. You can see it's got these little claws here that clip onto these 2 bars here. So that's like, it's similar to the KitzConcept where this part raises up and is on its own hinge system. So it's just a bit hard to separate it because these tabs inside here, down there, go into here, and it was pretty secure. That's all. So once we've got this separated, again, we'll open this up. So leave room for the head. The head can come through, and this is all going to fold around. We need to bring the arms. Remember, they're on a slide. These come back up. Sorry, this is kind of hard to show. I hope it's coming through. Get this folded down. Get the head through the base here. Get this antennae up, and hopefully they won't fall off this time, I was going to say. Alright, get this turned around. Okay, so now we've got that in place. The arms are rotated up here. And collapse this part down. And the legs should come down all the way. And this actually has a similar idea to what KitzConcept does. It's got pegs in the crotch here that are going to peg into here. Not sure if peg is the right term, but so this has to rotate so that it's forward on the bar. So now that is connected, now we can straighten all this business out. And that, well, as you can see, there is a tab there that goes into the fuselage. You can start to close this stuff up. And for the cockpit, you need to replace it. So we'll pop out the clear blue cockpit. We can leave Rick in there if we want to. And then we'll put on this opaque white one. And now this can come back into place, lock down here. And this has a filler piece as well. It's here. So this will just go around the neck. I have to open up this back piece. So stick it around the neck, drop it down into place. Head should go back, actually. Oop. Oh, I didn't rotate this properly. I didn't rotate the neck, I just rotated the head. That's why it wasn't cooperating. Okay. Actually, that works, because now you can see what it looks like. Underneath that whole assembly is where it should go. And then this will lock it in place. Let's put the head back down now. That works well, because you can see the joint. Now the head we will put back into place here. There we go. Now it's finished. Okay, so I think I managed to make that look a lot more difficult than it really is. And I feel like I am apologizing a lot for the Bandai, but it's just so good. I want to give it a fair shake, you know? Alright, so there's our Bandai Battloid. It does come with a stand. Well, this is the same piece that works on the Guardian mode. You can just stick it in here and have him on display. And last but least, the Toynami one. Nothing happens in the wrist assembly here. You just plug in the hands you want, and you open this up again like I showed earlier. So there's a space in there. We'll put this back on. You can remove the gun from this hand. There's just no reason to. So these come down like the classic, and same routine here. Just slide this down. Oh, actually, oh, yeah, it's another double hinge. Even on this one, double hinge. Nice, nice. Okay, so this unclips, folds down. I think there is a replacement for this cockpit, isn't there? This looks like it comes off. Oh my gosh, what did I do with all the pieces for this? I don't know. And we'll just remove the arm to make it easier to transform. It's got quite an antenna there. Let's get that through. The usual. I'll say one thing. At least the antennas stay on this one. There's our arm joints. They're already out of the way. Close everything up. Back up. Wings closed. Reattach arm. Okay, there. I'm done. There's all 5 of them in the Battloid mode, so you can see a really good comparison here of the height. And I never want to see another Valkyrie in my life. I'm just kidding. These things are really fun. A couple things I forgot to mention are some of the accessories, mostly for the Bandai. So Bandai comes with extra wings. You can have long wings. You can have this compact little set of wings for Battloid mode that just slides onto... Just take the wings off, put this on. It looks pretty good. So you can have the... You don't have to have that skirt hanging down there. You can have the more anime accurate look. I made a mistake. He actually can transform with hands. He's got these tiny, teeny little fists and even a little gun handle that you can plug into that one. So those can stay on during transformation. He also has these other sort of more boxy, robotic-looking hands that you can use to snap on there. So there's 3 styles of hands. The transformable ones, the boxy ones, and the anime Mickey Mouse gloves. And these swappable little intake covers. And here's the High Metal R Battle Pod and the High Metal R 2-seater Valkyrie. Apologies that this isn't totally complete. I didn't have all the accessories for this Toynami version over here, so I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for not showing this, but I figure it's the same mold pretty much as the other one, the Rick Hunter version, so I don't think that's really important, and this video is too long as it is.
I may have gone too far in a few places.
So a couple final thoughts just to sum things up. Really the star of the show here that I wanted to show was the KitzConcept one. That's the one that people are most interested in. It's the newest one, and I am pretty happy with it. More so now than I was when I made my original review. I had a bit more time now to play with it and transform it, and I can appreciate that it is a nice piece. And for the price, it's quite a good value. It makes a really nice display piece with all the panel lining, and just the aesthetic of it looks very good. And transforming it is actually pretty fun. I think that part disappointed me initially, but now that I know what I'm doing, it is pretty fun. And the LED lights make it really cool and kind of put it over the top. So, you know, if you're thinking of collecting this type of stuff, or if you're already a collector, really the most important thing is probably the scale. So I do like it. I don't think I'm going to be buying any more, though. I think I have enough of this type of stuff for my collection. If I were going to buy any more, I think I'd actually go with the Bandai. I had a lot of fun with the Bandai stuff. The high metal R stuff is all 1/100 scale, and you can get things like the Battle Pod, right? So I think there's just more options and more you could do, and it's just a really good quality figure, and it's actually a lot of fun to flip back and forth. The Toynami one, I would say, is good for the price. If you want something that's on, a low budget, for 35 bucks, you can pick a couple of them up and, play with them, flip them back and forth. And, it's not a big outlay of money, and they're pretty fun. They're just kind of flimsy, it's not really a great display piece, but they're fun if you just want something to sort of play with. This old Takotuku design really still holds up. It's a lot of fun to flip back and forth. You can transform it really quickly. It's chunky, it's durable. You've got to have one of these in your collection, whether it's the Jetfire from Transformers or the Takotuku Valkyrie. I highly recommend you get some kind of version of this in your collection. They're just a lot of fun to have. The Masterpiece is just kind of an iteration of that design. It's good. It looks good, but I don't know what they go for on the market these days, because they're not in production anymore. So it's not top of the line anymore. But credit where it's due. I mean, these were the first Masterpieces we got before we had any Masterpiece Transformers at all. So I think the Masterpiece Valkyrie kind of led the way with that. So it's still a good piece. I don't even know how I'd rank them. They're all so different, and they serve different purposes, other than putting the Toynami at the bottom. It doesn't help that color is just that off-white. Doesn't look so great. I don't know what I did with all the accessories for that one. I know I have them somewhere, but I looked and I cannot find them. So I suppose it just wasn't that important for me to keep track of, which is really unusual. I'm normally pretty obsessive about keeping all the stuff in those plastic containers that I showed you earlier. So I don't know what happened to those. But anyway, hopefully that didn't detract from the review. I hope that I've redeemed myself for the first video that I made with this stuff. I'm going to be putting more effort into this stuff going forward. I'm not cutting corners. I know I had a whole rant video where I complained about things that people do in YouTube reviews for toys, and I don't want to be guilty of that myself. So the feedback and the criticism is totally justified. So I welcome any constructive feedback that makes me better at this. And most of all, I just hope you guys enjoyed this and got something out of it. So thank you very much. I know this video is super long, so if you made it this far or you skipped ahead, thanks. I hope it was worth it, and I hope I've earned a thumbs up. Either way, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will have more stuff coming. Like I said, I'll soon be showing that Rick Hunter 6-inch figure and comparing it to the 3 3/4 inch figure. Thanks for watching, guys. Good night.